Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Monster Hunter Wilds talk. With a new update coming, it looks a lot bigger than we expected. This is the last base game update. So here's a quick rundown of the main things to know going in, what and when. But importantly, how to prepare yourself for some of these tougher hunts. Arch-tempered Arkveld should be a real challenge, but they're doing some crazy stuff with 10-star hunts. So let's begin. First up, it's dropping very soon, February 17th or the 18th, depending on your time zone. But obviously, one of the main events is Arch-tempered Arkveld, which will be a 10-star hunt, and again require Hunter rank 100. They probably could have gone higher for this, like 150 or something. I think we're all well over 100 by now, but whatever, that's the requirement. Obviously, with it, there will be a new armor set, which looks, by the way, incredible, but we are expecting this to affect the meta because there shouldn't be any more new armor sets after this update based on them telling us it's the last base game update. By this point, if they were ever gonna do this set is just busted good, the slots are too good, the skills are too good, it would be this one. We'll see how far they go with this, but they've been very careful about this, so maybe it'll be just a couple pieces that we all equip. Also, there will be a free challenge version coming up later that drops on March 18th. And in the prep section, we'll talk about what we should plan and expect for the Arch-tempered Arkveld. Also, of course, with this update, we have the Stories 3 collab, which should start with a quest called a Royal Request. So if you want to start that, you'll need to go to the Scarlet Forest base camp and begin the side quest. When that's done, there's also going to be new optional quests in transporting eggs. So that mechanic will be a bit more interesting and hopefully actually rewarding. In that case, you will be picking up and finding monsty eggs though instead of the regular eggs and try to bring them back to the camp. Now we've seen various pendants which are monsties like Ratha and some of the new ones like Chattercabra and Raydal, which do look really good. I'm not exactly expecting any meta required pieces or rewards from this, but a bit of fun. Separate to that though, that should be very important, are the new advanced quests. So various 10-star hunts are here. Previous Arch-tempered monsters are going to be back to face in these quests, and through this system you're going to get two resources. Time-worn charms, which can then be turned into your RNG talismans, so there's that grind there, but also you're going to be getting battle-tempered emblems, which can then be used to reinforce your gogma artian weapons. So it should be a good time for the RNG grind long term. And with it being a final update, that makes sense. These are where you're going up against 4 monsters in one hunt, like this quest, Proof of a Hero, which is insane. 4 Arch-tempered monsters in one hunt with a 50-minute timer and 3 feint limit. So that's going to be something, good luck. Also with that, with new equipment, we do have the new greatsword, that incredible like cracking mirror weapon, as well as the fun pendant design. Basically, the contest winners are finally going to be in game. So expect an event quest to unlock these, probably one for each. And I'm interested to see where the greatsword falls, because in the previous games, these weapons were very solid for a good period there. But in the context of Wilds, it's probably not going to be a gogma artian weapon, but like a quote-unquote monster weapon. So it could have something interesting to it, but the idea that it'll challenge the gogma artian meta is unlikely, so it might just be a cosmetic that we use for layering. There's also going to be the anniversary event, and it's important to understand this one. Basically, all previous Festival of Accords will be back at the hub. You'll be able to get all the items, the weapons, the cosmetics, whatever, anything you missed from any of them. But you want to be aware that they're rolling this one out, one after the other, week by week, instead of it all being at once, obviously. So the first one is the Blossom Dance, dropping with the update on the 17th or the 18th, depending on your time zone. And then the following week from that, that's Flame Fate. The week after that, that's Dream Spell. And then for the last 4th week, Lumen Hymn. So if there's anything you missed from one of those events, you got a great opportunity. Having said that, in regards to event quests, obviously we're going to have new ones with this update, but a lot of the previous event quests will become permanently available for all the rewards you might have missed from them. So that time for these special events might not be as valuable because these event quests are around in general. Also a bit of fun, they did call out that Rompapolo is actually the least hunted monster in the game. There's going to be an event quest to take on a strong one with the silly head cosmetic reward, where it's like a headpiece that's either pumped up or drained. And along with the update, there's also going to be the Gala suit set to unlock as a familiar sort of celebration set. So between, say, Arch-tempered Arkveld, the Gala cosmetics, the Stories collab, you've got quite a few Palico sets to consider as well. Now, it's not an event quest from the sounds of it, but there's also going to be a new side mission with Nadia. The side quest will lead to unlocking Nadia's armor, at least for the cosmetic purpose, but who knows, a piece here or there could be good. So Arkveld, Gala set, and Nadia set at the least for us. Other free rewards are going to happen though, like the Hunter Appreciation Pack. You log in and claim it, but it looks like a pile of Mega Demon Drug, Armor Skin, tickets, or Armor Spheres, couple other buffs. Certainly won't say no. So that's nice. Last thing to mention is the PC performance improvements. We've already had a lot. There's been some good feedback towards that. So expect another round of that. And we'll see if they choose to do more after this. But now let's jump in game and talk about what you can do to prepare for this update. Well, now, the big challenge coming is obviously the 10-star hunts, be that Arch-Tempered Arkveld or the crazy hunts with multiple targets and the very good rewards. We want to be in a strong position for that, with strong sets that provide us with as much power, but also help as possible. So starting with Arch-Tempered Arkveld as the obvious one, let's talk about those threats. You're going to be dealing with a lot of dragon damage, a lot of dragon blight. So obviously you want an item loadout with plenty of null berries to work with, and you want to pop those as soon as you have that debuff. While it's on you, it will stop your element and status build up against the target, and since Arkveld's already pretty resistant in general, you don't want to be dealing basically nothing to him the whole fight. This is something you can get away with against the easier versions of Arkveld, but Arch-Tempered should be extra scary. Outside of that, yes, he's dealing dragon damage. So a quick look at your sets and going, what are my defenses right now? Well, this one's -3, this one's worse at -11, -11. Here's one that's at 0. That's at least a reasonable starting point, but not ideal. It's not something to go crazy over though, because obviously you're going to get element resistances from eating feasts, a lot there. But 80 Arkveld should hit really hard, so having high raw defense is going to be important. So, as usual, make sure you upgrade your armor. Look at this, I've got 94 defense on this gamma ray helmet here at level 14. They've raised the cap of upgraded armor multiple times, so you can upgrade it even further. They added the whole transcend feature. So on this random piece here, what we have here is my decoration slots being upgraded by 1 across the board, which is obviously a big deal. But the sort of subtle and important aspect of this is its max upgrade before being transcended is 20 levels. When it's transcended, it goes up to 28. So I need to put resources into this to actually get it transcended and then fully upgraded, massively improving the defense. So as I take damage, I'm taking less damage overall. Can be the difference between a hit killing you and it not. The other end of this is the set that you're running as well. Obviously, we've put out plenty of max DPS sets, but these come at a cost, where every slot is very important and demanding. Like, I can't give up these antivirus decorations because then I lose all the affinity I'm getting from that. I can't give up the quick sheath as longsword, so it's very hard for me to make any changes to this set without losing a lot of DPS potential. So actually choosing to equip lesser intense sets, running more comfy sets that have lower DPS, sure, but then have the space for you to slot in things like Divine Blessing to reduce the damage you take when you do get hit, or maybe some dragon resistance. These things will keep you alive, and while you might be dealing less damage than if you had a max DPS set on, if you're dead, you're dealing no damage, so don't forget that. To make sure you're as strong as possible, obviously you want to be eating feasts and having them on the whole time. For that, you will need these vouchers as usual. So logging on now before the update just to collect some vouchers from the daily login rewards that are probably all sat and filled up right now, as well as some regular barrel balling here and there between hunts. I'd also recommend that as a great source of these tickets. If you want to farm them specifically, well then arena quests are always a great option. Whichever you can clear the fastest consistently, something basic like Shatterseal is a good idea. But there's also event quests. One that should come back soon, Gravios Blockade. That's around during the seasonal events and should come back with this update. That's great because it's a Gravios in a arena setting, so reliable fast farm. And you just target the belly because it's got an incredible hit zone for water or maybe dragon element. So fast to kill, fast to farm. Now what about the Arch-Tempered Arkveld itself? Arkveld is awkward because his hit zones are pretty low. That's important to remember. Over each title update, Wild has brought out new monsters that have better and better hit zones, especially for element. It's meant elements become more and more relevant, peaking with gogma. But you gotta remember with Arkveld, it's gonna be like a wall. Dragon will technically be the best element to bring, but you need to be hitting the chain blade specifically. When they're in that powered up state, they're opened and kind of exposed. That's when you'll be hitting those chains for better damage across the board, including element. That hit zone becomes a 25 for dragon, which by comparison, at the most exposed point in phase 3, Gog has a 65 hit zone for the same element, so it's a big difference. I'm just saying this because I think we've got more used to element being more and more relevant, where it's pretty much just the chain blades for Arkveld. For targets though, you hit the head, you hit the chains, exposed chains most of all, and then if you have to, the tail's the reasonable alternative target. On top of all of that, we know there's going to be new attacks as usual. In the trailer, we see 2 examples. First, we have Arkveld doing a sort of spin backwards as if he's Captain Levi, using the momentum of the chains. This appears to whip twice, and then there seems to be an explosion after. So I would guess that's 4 different instances of damage. Before then, it's followed up with a familiar explosive downward slam. Second, we see Arkveld in the air, rearing back and spreading the chains out in 4 places to warn you that a dive bomb is coming. Expect that to hit like a truck and will be very important to perfect guard, counter evade, or hey, it should be a reliable offset punish, so good luck attempting that one. Last things to know would be having an item loadout for the specific target. You see I used to run one for Gog, Omega, and the Archtemper Udra. Now it's going to be Arkveld. Generally, I make these loadouts with the target in mind, so Gog couldn't be trapped right, so I'm not bringing any traps. Being heavily stocked on your life powders and dusts of life, any important buffs like dash juice, and obviously the nullberries, making sure you've got both ancient potions and max potions as panic buttons, and if you do get a knockdown, popping something potent like a might pill in that moment does go a long way. As usual, I will remind you of a buffing set before a hunt. The point of a buffing set is item prolonger to mean those buffs you pop before the hunt begins actually last a lot longer, and they might not cost you anything, and they won't take as long thanks to these 3 skills: speed eating, item prolonger, and free meal. So just having a set that has these things, and then before the hunt, just here in the hub, you're just popping these buffs faster and lasting longer. Importantly, your mega armor and mega demon drugs, these last longer before the hunt. Then I just swap to the real set I'm actually going to hunt on and go from there, enjoying those longer buffs. But yeah, that's going to do for any of the prep I can really talk about right now, or at least consider going in. If you guys have any extra advice, then feel free to drop it in the comments. But we're going to be back with the update to give you specific tips and guides alongside the build updates and more. So we'll see you there for that. For now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.